Today we're going to be covering the third phase of the system that I teach, which is called Inspect. And some of these calls you'll come to and it'll be a Q&A. Other times I'll be doing a lesson, because when I do a lesson, I'm building out the members area, which you guys will have access to ASAP. It's being built in Go High Level. And so it'll be very sequential. There'll be all kind of downloads and tools and resources, everything you guys need to improve your business. So welcome to the call. If you're just coming on, I'm Mark Tassoni. Welcome, welcome. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anytime, man. We'll get started in a minute. What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Mark?
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
All right.
Yo, Joe, what's up?
What's going on, Mike?
Mark, can I pitch your book real quick?
Oh yeah,
I've had it for a number of years.
Who's
Ladies
that
and
skinny
gentlemen.
guy?
Fantastic book. There's some great picture painting, just storytelling in front of it's a phenomenal book. This kind of got me started back on the track. I'd been doing security sales for 2015. So I'd been doing security systems for like 17, 18 years prior to that.
Wow.
And the only reason I was good at it was because I just hit a lot of doors. You know, I wasn't as effective as I could. This book really helped me. And there's still, you know, we forget a lot of what we learn unless we're constantly in a learning process. So a fantastic book. Just for, you know, self-help, self-reading, just to keep you plugged in. Plus, obviously, everything you're adding to this program is hugely useful as well.
Awesome. Thank you for the plug. Yeah, so if you guys want that book, you can go to Amazon. If I had copies, I would send it to you. I'm that kind of guy, but I don't. I had hundreds of copies that I sent out over the years. But it is available on Amazon if anybody wants to have it. You will get the playbook here and beyond that. But the irony of that book is I was ahead of my time, not bragging, just reporting. I sort of read consumer behavior very early. A lot of you guys are coming forward asking me the same question. I've been doing this for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It seems like things are changing. What's going on? Well, what's happening is consumer behavior is shifting. I am going to give you a tool today that most of you would not find on your own. I have a very good eye for what works in the market and what doesn't. I'm going to give you a huge tool today, which is not even my tool. So that's the kind of coach I am. I'll plug other coaches, because you got to remember, a lot of coaches won't plug other coaches. And it's actually kind of irritating, because some of the biggest coaches out there, I know who their mentors are, and I won't mention names, but a lot of them won't even mention their own mentor's name. And I'm just not that guy. I made my money originally in the alarm business, and then I was able to put the money into real estate, as I still do to this day. I happen to coach. So I am not dependent upon coaching. And so I will refer you guys to other coaches that I know matter and make a difference for you. And at the end of the day, like, if you were a fighter, you know, you like a ultimate fighter, you would have you might have a wrestling coach or a jiu-jitsu coach. You might have a striking coach, right? You might have somebody who's working with you on your body fat percentage, maybe a nutritionist. at the end of the day, you might have a lot of coaches, and I have a lot of coaches because I'm playing a high stakes game. So I hope to be one of your coaches, but I don't need to be your only coach because there's a lot of people who teach a lot of stuff. If you want to invest in real estate or, if you're doing something else. So at any rate, today I'm going to give you something that is really powerful inside of the lesson that I'm teaching you. I'm going to screen share here real quick. Hang on just one sec. If I got this right, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm not screen sharing. Hang on a minute. Where are you? Let me see here. Here we go. All right. Yes. All right. So you see an image here. This is what we're going to be discussing today is step 3. So what you're looking at is my process. And this process is proven from years and years and years of sales. And I would challenge any one of you to challenge me on the process. If you see something here that you feel is out of order or shouldn't, be there, or it doesn't make sense to you, let me know. I'm not a dictator. I'm a dialogue guy, and I truly want best practices. I want what is going to work for you best. So because today is a lesson, sometimes we'll be doing Q&A, so the call will be a little different. Today is going to be a lesson, and then I'll open the call. So I'm doing the lesson because this part is going to end up going into the members area so you can watch it again and again. All right. So with that, I'm going to get started. If you have questions, I'll unmute as soon as I'm done here. Won't be long. And then you can, bring forward your questions. And the questions could be about the lesson, or they could be about something else altogether. That's what this call is for. So welcome to today's section. We're going to be covering step 3 of the process. And the process, here is another photo of it, is what I call the money brick road. Sometimes we refer to it as the ECT, sales acceleration method. Oftentimes you'll hear me call it the money brick road. The reason I call it the money brick road is because it is the road you take to get to the money. So you want to make sure you understand this flow. Now, for some of you, I know you are one man or one woman, you're doing your thing, and that's fine. And that's all well and good. Well, hang on one second. But if you go to build a team or duplicate or even take yourself to a next level, it is imperative that you work within a framework. If I were selling tomorrow, whether it be alarms or something else, the very first thing I would do is create a framework, because I'm not going to trust myself to wing it. People who wing it, and no disrespect if that's what you're doing, but I can only tell you people who wing it are not coming at this from a scientific approach. And if you want to increase your sales, you've got to be willing to look at yourself to see what you are doing. Notice my choice of words. I'm weaving coaching here. What are you doing that is effective? And what are you doing that is ineffective? See, in my coaching, I never make it about you, the person. I make it about your performance. I might make it about your approach, but it's not about you, the person. Is it effective or is it ineffective? If it's effective, can we make it even more effective? And if it's ineffective, how can we correct that to get you to effective and beyond effective? So what we're talking about today is step 3, which is right here. We're in the inspect section of the money brick road. And I can go back here to this diagram. And you can take a photo of that. This will all be in the site. Inspecting is the third thing that we do in the process. And what it answers, the question it answers is, where are you now? The problem that a lot of people have is they don't know where their buyer is now. So I'm going to stop the share for a moment, and I'll bring it back for you. But I want to open the call, and I want to ask you, what are you doing now to determine where is your customer now? You hit a door, and this person's a new homeowner or a non-new homeowner. How and when are you determining where they are now? What question are you asking to uncover where they are now? Could somebody unmute and start to share what you're doing with that?
Mark, yeah, I'll add. I'll start.
Okay, thank you.
One of the first things I would lead with, once obviously build rapport, we've gone through all that, is look, if you guys are like most new homeowners, you've probably been thinking about security, haven't you? And then it prompts them to either say yes or no. Well, regardless of what they say, my response is always, well, fantastic. And then I move forward. So
Okay.
regardless if it's a positive or a negative, I'd kind of put them in the mindset of, look, most new homeowners are thinking about this. You probably are too. And even if they're not, a lot of the time they go, yeah, we have been, and they haven't been.
Right. Yeah. So if somebody tells you, yeah, we have been, you can now start to understand what their belief system is. But if they tell you, no, we really haven't, that also begins to tell you what their belief system is. See, sales is nothing but a process of change. And what I want you guys to get from me is this: your customer already has security. We don't live in a day and age where people don't lock their doors and windows. If that is happening, you got to be in a very rural area. It would be very rare for that to happen today. So it's important that you understand your customer already has a security. They have security. It just might not be ADT electronic security, and it might not be any electronic security, but trust me, they have security. So you got to help them to understand where they are right now. This is what inspecting is about. And I think it's fair to say one of the biggest problems you guys make, and gals, is you shoot your bullets too quick. You fire, ready, aim, instead of ready, aim, fire. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is everybody can slow down. My father is deceased. His lesson to me in life was, son, slow down. And he was so right on so many levels about so many things. But I'm that type A guy. Got to move quick, got to move quick. And I'm going to be talking about that today because I'm going to be recommending a book to you guys in a moment as part of this training program that I want you to read immediately to take your sales to the next level. And it's about buyer types. It's time you understand. Watch what I say here. When you learn to sell, when John Smith sells through John Smith's eyes, you have to sell through the eyes of the customer. When you sell through John Smith's eyes, you will sell what John Smith buys. So take that to heart because it is so true, and it's more true today than it's ever been. So if you're that fast mover, but you're dealing with a slow mover, you are mismatching and creating problems for yourself, and you need to be able to sell to all buyer types. I have a guy I train and privately coached, and he's out of New York. The kid made $1.7 million. but he would only sell to conservatives. I said, are you kidding me? So if somebody is a non-conservative, you're not going to sell to them. Yep, I only sell to conservatives. He was a phenom. But that is ridiculous. You got to be able to sell to all people, whether they believe what you believe or not. You sell to all people. So we're going to learn about buyer types here today. But before I get into the buyer types, we got to know, where are they now? So somebody else share with me, what is your strategy to understand where they are now? There's a lot to know about right now that will predict what they're going to do. So somebody else, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So what I do is as soon as I introduce myself, I say, hey, my name's Joe. So your homeowner's insurance agent should have told you that we're going to come out here and talk to you about this new homeowners program. Did they happen to mention this? And when some of them say yay, some of them say no, I'll say, okay, well, let me just ask you first, what's your name? And then I'll tell them, have you guys considered monitoring your new home? That's where I find out where they're at in this process. And even if they say they have cameras, then I'll go ahead and start assessing more important ways to protect them at that moment.
That is a where are you now question. Have you considered monitoring this home? The guy says, oh, we already have an alarm. We already got it hooked up. Would that be important to know? Like, you got to know this stuff, right? Or in that case, if it's a new home, more than likely they haven't got it hooked up yet, but you want to know what they're thinking, what they're believing. And this is what the inspect section is all about. It's about understanding where they are now before you start shooting your bullets. And I know, don't take it the wrong way if I'm talking to you. I know a lot of you guys shoot your bullets at the door. I know a lot of you guys tell them a price at the door. And I'm just saying, slow the thing down. Once you get in the door and they're willing to talk to you, slow the whole thing down. There is no need to rush it. You're talking about people's life safety. So today, I'm going to give you 3 options on how to handle the third step of my process called inspect. Step number 1 is you could do it in the form of a survey. Now, if you're building a team, you might want to consider doing this in the form of a survey. So it would be a market survey with a series of questions that get asked the same way every time. Once you've broken preoccupation, once you've gotten in the door, so to speak, once you've got their attention, all that's happening in step 2. Door approach, connecting, that's all back there in step 2. We already covered that. That will be in the site. And of course, we can talk more about it. We will talk more about it, but I'm bringing you through this sequentially. So you can have a market survey. Number 2, you can wing it. Unfortunately, a lot of y'all are winging it. And I'm not a wing it kind of guy. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not a wing it kind of guy. Do you think Tom Cruise is a wing it kind of guy? I can tell you right now, he's not. And that's why he's one of the highest paid actors in history. Okay. Tony Robbins, one of the greatest public speaker communicators of all time. You think he's a wing it kind of guy. You go to a conference and somebody's selling you something from a platform. Russell Brunson, he holds the record of stage selling. Platform presenter, $3 million in an hour. He holds the record right now. Do you think he wings it? No. So this is what I want to say to you. Hopefully you are in this training program, ADT Sales Creators, because you want to maximize your income so that you can get that money invested and convert it into residual income. That's the only way you get financially free in this country. You got to make more money than your expenses and get it converted into residual income. I'm weaving now. But to do that, you got to get better at what you're doing. You can do, if you double or triple your income with the same effort, what does that mean to you? So you can do a survey, you can wing it. The third thing you could do is build it into a presentation. What I did when I first started is I had it as a market survey, this third phase of the demo called Inspect. I then shifted it into a presentation. So the Inspect section became part of the presentation. So now I'm going to tell you exactly the questions that you want to ask inside of this. How you go about it is completely up to you. You do it how you want to do it. I'm not here to tell you how to do it, although I can tell you how to do it, but I'm really here to empower you to discover for yourself what works best. And a lot of this comes down to, are you doing this for you or you only, or are you a dealer building a team? If you're a dealer building a team, to me, it is mandatory that it's not a wing it process. If it's a wing it process, you are hurting yourself. If you're an individual, I recommend also that you're not using a wing it process. Why wouldn't you want to document what you're doing and understand where you are in the process, in the framework? Because once you have framework, you can track what you're doing and you can course correct. I'm going to say something very profound to you right now. One of the reasons people are broke or broken or not where they want to be, maybe not even broke, just not where you want to be, is because you don't evaluate what you do. You just do what you do. You do, and you do all over yourself. That's what you do. You never take the time to stop and evaluate what you did. When you take the time to stop and evaluate what you did, you will now notice that, oh my God, that was ineffective. What more could I do to make that effective? See, my promise to you is 4 things. I'm going to help you eliminate sabotage. If you're not evaluating yourself, you are sabotaging. Let me say that again because it's profound. If you are not evaluating yourself, you are sabotaging. Let me ask you this. If you're on a diet and you want to lose weight, how will you know you're losing weight if you don't get on a scale and evaluate yourself? How will you know whether or not you're losing weight if you don't have a food log and you don't look at what you are ingesting? Look at anybody who's ripped beyond recognition. And I'm not professing to be that guy. I got a little Pirelli down here, a little Pirelli tire. Who else has one of those? Anybody? You got a Pirelli or a Dunlap at least, right? Okay, so I'm not here teaching you weight loss. I'm teaching you how to make money. But I know people who are doing weight loss measure everything. They measure the macros and the micros. Okay, write this down. Pearson's Law. Pearson's Law states whatever you measure grows and expands. And my joke around that is with the exception of the male anatomy. Okay? Whatever you measure will grow and expand with the exception of the male anatomy. Isn't that too bad? Imagine just being able to measure it and all of a sudden, right? But it doesn't work that way. But when it comes to your numbers, it does work that way. Pearson's Law, look it up. So what you measure will grow. So that's why you got to have a system. Okay. So I want to share the questions with you, but before I do that, I want to introduce you to this guy. His name is Woody Woodward. He comes out of the insurance business, and he created this process, this model called Drive. The secrets to increase sales by 400%. Okay, I can get you to increase sales by 400% without the book. But with the book, this, with what I teach, is pure gold. Okay, Drive is buyer types. A lot of you have not studied buyer types. And so what happens is you're selling a driver like they're an intellectual, or you're selling to a person in a way that is not in alignment with how they buy. This book will teach you the 5 buyer types. And I kid you not, the book is a thick book, but don't get discouraged. In the first 10 pages, it will tell you specifically, once you identify the buyer type, how to present to that person, good or good. Okay? So when you take what I'm teaching and you do this, see, the reason other sales trainers, coaches won't tell you this is because they need your money. I don't need your money. We have a fair exchange when you coach with me, but I don't need your money. So I'm not afraid to share other coaches with you in things that are going to work to empower you. This will take you guys off the chart. You study what I'm doing and you study this and this alone. I'm telling you, you will go to levels you can't imagine. And I want you to write this down. If you were to double your commissions, what would that mean to you? What is that number? Start measuring. Double means I go from 5,000 a month to 10,000 a month. Doubling means I go from 10 to 20. It happens because you start to measure and because you start to get systematized. Okay, so back to inspect. So now, some of you are shotgunning, and another thing some of you are doing that I don't recommend is what I call mouse trapping. Mouse trapping goes like this. How many of you would like to be a mouse in a trap? Wouldn't that suck? If you're a mouse, you're running around the person's house, you're eating all their food, and all of a sudden they got your tail in a clamp. Wouldn't that absolutely suck if you were a mouse, right? So what you do, and again, when I say you, if this doesn't mean you, don't take it personal, okay? I'm blanketly speaking here. What a lot of salespeople do is they'll go like this. Isn't it fill in the blanks? Doesn't it fill in the blanks? That's called an inverted tie down. An inverted tie down is mouse trapping, and inverted tie downs are the worst way to ask a question. The only thing worse that you could do than mouse trapping somebody is shotgunning them. Shotgunning them is when you don't ask questions, you are not into dialogue, you are merely into point after point after point after point. Very ineffective. More effective is dialogue, Socratic. How many of you have heard of Socrates, right? One of the greatest philosophers of all time. All he did was ask questions. Jesus Christ, questions, 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 questions. Questions help people to buy. Stop trying to sell. Start facilitating a process where people can buy from you, not where you are selling them. Back in the day, it was like this. Oh my God, I'm a closer. I close that customer. No more, folks. That's all gone. Your job as a sales pro, as a sales creator, is to get people to buy. How do you get people to buy? Dialogue, questions. And you got to get really good at asking the right questions, which I'm going to give you right now. And you got to get really good at asking the questions in the right tonality. Okay, tone is very important because tone is how we as humans determine saber-toothed tiger. Is it safe or is it not? It's all based on tone. So you got to become aware of your tone, and becoming aware of tone is even more important when you understand the certain buyer type you're in front of, because the buyer types tone out differently. I am a D. A D is a driver, a guy who's pushing, an entrepreneur. That guy is going to speak faster than an I. An I is an intellectual. Okay? The driver is going to speak faster than the intellectual. So if you're with an intellectual, you got to tone different. You got to tone out different. So start to become aware of tone. And we will be talking about more about tone in the coming days. But I'm making you aware now it's a thing. So what questions do you like to ask early on? So here are the questions I would ask. So if you are doing new homeowners, how long have you folks been here? Where did you come from? So you start to understand what their current situation is. What brought you here? Oh, the schools. The schools brought me here. Oh, you have kids? How many kids? We have 3 kids. What was it about the schools that attracted you to this area? See, when they're talking, they're telling you their belief system. Oh, my kids go to private Christian school. What do I now know? I now know I probably have a conservative in front of me who doesn't like the transgender agenda. Versus I say to somebody, oh, what brought you here? Public schools. See, every public schools might indicate maybe they got a little less money than the private school person. Like, you got to start to understand where they are now, but you can't do that when you're mousetrapping and shotgunning. See, people who shotgun and mousetrap, it's all about you. It's not about them. People who dialogue and question and use Socratic approaches, it is all about the customer. Serve, solve, sell. See, you are there to uncover, and you are there to help them uncover. It's a whole different modality. And I'm here to tell you today, can a shotgunner or a mousetrapper make money today? Yes, you can. Will you become wealthy? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I would really question that. Because my experience of wealth, the less guilty you are about what you do to make money, the more wealthy you become. Oh, snap, that's profound. Okay, every now and then I drop something on you that's like, boom. The less guilty you are about how you make money, the more wealthy you will become. So get into service. You will not feel guilty or bad. You will feel good. Just because you're serving doesn't mean you don't enroll people. In fact, quite the opposite. When you're serving, you are determining what's going on with people. What am I doing right now? Where are you now? So I'm giving you questions here. Let's look at some more. What's this? How long do you folks plan on living here? How many of you asked that question? How long do you plan on living here? Chris Bradford, way to go, right? I want to know that. It would probably take a bomb to get you out of this new house, wouldn't it? Yes, we're here for the long haul. Beautiful. I want them long haulers, man. Oh, do I want them long haulers. Now, if they're not a long hauler, I got to make a mental note in the back of my mind because that might mean future objection. See, so I'm compiling data. That's what I'm doing in the Where Are You Now section, in the inspect section. Now, here's where we start to get into process. Do you know of anyone who's had a burglary? That's a yes or no question. Yes. If they say yes, especially you men, and we got mostly men here, with the exception of maybe 2 potentially. If they say yes, you got to tone down. You got to go into a concerned tone. How many of you have little girls? Anybody got a little daughter? Anybody got daughters on here, right? So when you talk to daughters, you speak to them a little differently. You tone down. You don't tone up. Do you know of anyone who's had a burglary? Yes, I do. Watch this. Really? What happened? You concern tone. So make a note of that. One tone is called a concern tone. Now, let me share something with you. You don't want to model my concern tone. You want to find your concern tone because your concern tone is different than mine, right? So if I said, you know, if anybody's at a burglary, really, what happened? By the way, I want to point something out to you. Notice I'm asking a lot of what and how questions. The reason I ask what and how questions is because what and how brings you to the prefrontal cortex. It takes them out of the amygdala. The amygdala is the fear center of the brain. People don't make good decisions when they're in fear. So my questions pull them to here. Okay, I'm pulling them into the moment, more into the moment. So do you know if anybody who's had a burglary might take them to the past, but watch where I go with this. Really, what happened? They tell you the story. Drill down. I teach something called drilling down. Drilling down goes like this. How are they now? What did they experience? How did this impact them? Did you speak to them about it? What was the end result? By the way, you might have a referral too, but that's another story, right? So you got to pay attention. And did you ever have a burglary? No. Okay, great. So if they never had a burglary, I know something about my customer, where they are now. So the most difficult people in my experience to sell to are people who've had a burglary and lived through it for a year. Who would agree with that? When they just had the burglary and got robbed, the ones who are fearful are going to do something now. It's the ones who don't do something and live through it. Those are a little more challenging. And the people who have not had it happen yet, I am going to show you a process, and don't take this the wrong way, and do not take this out of context. I am going to show you how to lovingly, mentally rob people. How many of you ever wanted to be a criminal? Well, now's your chance. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But I'm going to show you how to mentally rob people. You're going to facilitate a process. FTF, facilitate the fear. But let's stay on track here. Step 3, do you know of anybody who's had a burglary? Really? What happened? Have you ever had a burglary? No. What are your main concerns? Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a question in a moment to find out their hot buttons. What matters to them most? But it's a process. So I have to teach you how to facilitate a process. Now, for some of you, you're like, I know you guys move quick, and I'm all about that. But I'm telling you, you will have more sales and you will have higher average sales when you slow things down. Who would agree with me? If you agree with me, put it in the chat. Slow down. If you agree with me, I promise you, I won't let you down. So another question. Do you have a security system in the house now? Remember, you guys might be at the door. Joe Navarro agrees. Way to go. Omar agrees. Slow down. Christian agrees. Fabian agrees. Like, you guys agree with this. It makes sense to slow it down, right? So you guys might be at the doorstep, okay? Because it depends on the situation. If you're in on an appointment, are you with a new homeowner, or is it an existing home, non-new homeowner? How did you get there? Is it a business? So you guys got a lot going on, and you got to bob and weave, right? So my recommendation is to always get in the door and get to the kitchen table if you can. But I know you can't always do that. So when you can't do that, you got to know how to make step 3 conversational, which means you need to remember the questions, or you could have the questions on your pad or your, whatever it is you're carrying. You could have the questions on there so you remember them. This is not, there you go. It's not fourth grade here. You guys can cheat. Okay. It's okay to have a sequence of questions and to look at them. That is okay. You have permission to do that. So let me give you some more questions. Do you have security now? Have you been considering it? No. Really, tell me more. If I say to you, have you been considering security? And you say no, and I say, tell me more, I now know your belief system. What are most salespeople going to do? They're going to start rebuttaling. But I'm not going to rebuttal. I'm going to do Steven Seagal Aikido, because they're throwing shots at me and I'm just going like this. Wow, I'm just moving and flowing with the energy they're throwing at me. I'm not rebuttaling. You don't need to always rebuttal. Sometimes you can learn to agree with people and say, yeah, I see your perspective. Write this down. When people feel, right? Somebody put feel in the chat. When people feel seen and acknowledged, do you know what happens to their brain? They move to the prefrontal cortex. They move out of safety and survival, and they move into prefrontal cortex. So when you are rebuttaling, AKA arguing with people, because you think that's sales, because that's how you were taught, which used to work way back then, that keeps people stuck in their fear brain. I want them in their prefrontal cortex, PFC. Not KFC, PFC. We want them in their prefrontal cortex. That's where we want them. Okay, so have you considered security before? Now let me show you the process. Actually, before I show you the process, I got one more question. This is a 3-part question. What is your current security ritual? Well, I don't have one. Okay. Tell me, what do you do before you go to bed? Do you open the doors and windows and turn all the lights on? What do you do? No, we lock up and we turn the lights off. What do you do while you're home? Do you have a security ritual while you're home? And what do you do when you exit the home? What is your current security ritual? Now, the reason I ask you this, now you guys got to be good at getting trust fast. You can't ask that question too soon because you might make them nervy. So you gotta do different things I teach you, like, hey, my name's Chris, or my name's Andrew, or my name is Sabrina. Look here, guys, look here. Okay? I'm telling them I'm coming from the heart. My name's Ricardo. My name's Brett. My name's Omar. I'm coming from the heart. You got to get very good at getting them to drop their guard to feel safe with you. No safe, no sale. A lot of that has to do with the way you dress. Do you have an ID? Do you wear it? Do you show it to people? Do you have a website they can check out? Could they verify you if they needed to? Could I go to Andrew Pantoja's website and see a picture of you with your mom and your family and maybe kids and cousins and relatives? Something that tells me more about you, that you're human, that you're family, that you're safe. So you guys need every advantage today. But ultimately, what is your current security ritual? Now let me show you the process so that I can design an alarm for you that completely shuts bad guys down. So that I can design a system for you that is completely bulletproof. so that I can design a system for you that you will feel good about. Watch this future pacing here, that you'll feel good about for the next 20 years. See, the reason you get contract objections, and I'm weaving here, you need to go back and listen to this recording. You get contract objections because you never contrast things to a future. In a moment, I'm going to design a system that'll be bulletproof for the next 20 years. Where am I bringing them? Way out. That's why I never would get a term objection. Never. Never, never, never. How many of you are getting term objections? Be honest. Oh, it's got a contract or some of this BS, right? They all have contracts. Even the do-it-yourself has a contract. You are not connected to a central station without a contract. That's a fact. Somebody fact check me on that. You might be connected to a central station without a term on the contract, but you are not. Everybody has a contract. So I'm eliminating a term objection in my presentation. So I'm going to design a system for you. And so that I can do that perfectly for you, and here's the question. What would be your main motive to go ahead with security? Would it be due to burglary, robbery, fire, cameras, automatic locks? Watch this now. In other words, if you did it. What am I doing right now? Somebody unmute. In other words, Andrew Pantoja, Michael, in other words, if you did it, what would be your main motive? Somebody tell me what I'm doing here.
So what you're doing is you're setting, so you're not making them feel, they don't feel any type of pressure when you're using the word if, number one. There is no pressure there. It also drops their guard down because they don't, you're not making them, because I use that all the time. If you
Preach
and I learned
it,
that from Brett.
Daryl, preach it.
I learned that from Brett. I learned it from Brett. They don't feel like they're obligated to buy, which means they'll allow you to stay at that door or be at that table.
Now, a lot of sales trainers will tell you, you got to be assumptive. Don't ever say if. I can tell you with 100,000 alarms under my belt, bought and sold, not all by me, of course. I've been using if for years to drop people's guards, and it works as well today. Brett bought one of my courses over 25 years ago. I was using if back then because I noticed people's reaction when I use if. So watch the question again. So that I can design the perfect system for you. So that I can design a bulletproof system for you. Guys, you're not selling pieces and parts, man. If you're selling pieces and parts, you are losing money. You are selling a future, and you are a systems designer. You are a bad guy's worst freaking nightmare because you are going to stop so that I can design a system for you that's bulletproof. Now, in 20 years from now, what would be your main motive if you got protected? Burglary, robbery, fire, medical emergency, cameras, automatic door locks, garage door openers. In other words, if you decided to go ahead with this, what would be your main reason? Oh my God. Oh my God. Guys, this question, listen, if your brain right now is going, holy shit, Mark, this is just too much for me. There goes the lazy brain. Fight the lazy brain. Don't let your lazy brain take you out. We all have lazy brain. Calories. I'm stretching your calories. I'm giving you a new neural pathway. I'm showing you how to ask a question that is scientifically worded. Can anybody guess what I did in the tail end of that question? In other words, if you did it, what would be your main motive to go ahead with it? Let's see if anybody, I just did it right in front of you. Let's see if anybody can catch that. Who caught what I just did?
You mean by
Okay.
saying if? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Mr.
If
Bradford.
was the guard down, we got that. What else did I do? In other words, if you did it, If you decided to go ahead with it, what would be your main reason?
Self.
All right. Write this down, fellas. I'm going to give it to you. Right now, I'm going to hand you on a platter a ninja strategy. You must do this with good intent. You guys have been very busy talking to people's conscious minds. I speak to people subconsciously. If is to get the guard down. Where's the guard? In the conscious mind. But I also use a process, a sneaky little process called an embedded command. Listen to my question. In other words, if you decided to go ahead with it, what would be your main reason? So the embedded command is go ahead with it. If you chose to go ahead with it, I am commanding them subconsciously to move forward. If you guys knew how powerful that is, what I just told you, yes, and yes, Andrew Pantoja, they're going to answer me, yes, so they can clarify it in their mind. But I promise you, they never heard the words, go ahead with it. Now watch me do the whole question so that I can design a system that is perfect for you, that stops bad guys in their tracks. That'll be good for you today and good for you for 20 years. What would be your main motive if you were to go ahead with security? Burglary, robbery, fire, medical, cameras, automatic door locks, garage door opener. In other words, if you chose to go ahead with it, what would be your main reason? See the question? See, when I say go ahead with it, I distract with what would be your main motive. Their brain is hearing me say, what would be your main motive? But I dropped the command 2 times in one sentence. So in order to subconscious, yes, you must. Now you guys starting to see why I teach serve, solve, sell. I can't teach crooks how to do what I do, man, because they would just be better crook. Like what I do is so ninja. It's so freaking high level, but I'm building it right here for you, even at the 101 level. Just strategically word the question in step 3 so that I can design a system that is perfect for you, that's going to stop bad guys in their tracks today, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. If you were to go ahead with it, what would be your main motive? Burglary, robbery, fire, medical emergency, automatic door locks, cameras, garage door opener. In other words, if you did it, what would be your main motive? Now, somebody role play with me here. Watch what I do here. So I'm getting this on the recording for you guys. You got to learn the process. And I know listen, getting rich is inconvenient. Do you understand this? Getting rich sucks, guys. I'm telling you, I just got off the phone with my financial planner and he gave me a price for life insurance of $279,000 a year. Okay, getting wealthy takes calories. Your brain doesn't want to burn calories. That's called sabotage. You got to muscle through it to learn a new process, to create a new neural pathway in your brain. Your brain doesn't want to come along for the ride. You got to hang tough. Getting wealthy is more complicated. I'm telling you the truth. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather be rich and complicated than broke and not. I can tell you that. Because to me, broke is the ultimate pain. It sucks. And if you got kids and they're looking at you, I got 5 kids, man. My kids want for nothing. Although I do make them go to work. They all have to go to work, but they want for nothing. They know that their dad pulled it off. Okay. So if that's you, you just got to understand it's brain, it's calories we're burning here. So somebody role play with me here. Who's my customer? Pay attention and take good notes. Andrew Pantoja. Let's go. So Andrew, so that I can design the perfect system for you that'll absolutely stop bad. And watch the inflections here, guys, and watch the physiology too. That'll absolutely. What is that? What's this shit? Like, it's like done so that I can design a system for you that stops bad guys in their tracks. So that I can design a system for you that a year from now, 3 years, 10 years from now, it'll still be quietly protecting you and your family. If you were to go ahead with that, what would be your main motive, Andrew? Would it be due to burglary, fire, medical emergency, robbery? Would you want cameras? Would it be due to automatic locks? In other words, Andrew, if you did it, what would be your main motive? Now watch this. Go ahead, Andrew.
If I was to move forward, it'd probably be cameras.
Be the cameras? Okay, great. And can you tell me, what is it about the cameras? What am I doing here now? I already told you guys. What do I call it?
You're
Drilling down.
You're drilling down. Drilling down.
Drill it. Thank you. Andrew, what is it about the cameras that's most appealing to you? Watch this. I'm going to do the Pinocchio. You know how Pinocchio's nose grows? Watch my ear grow. Go ahead. What is it?
Being able to check on my Amazon packages, check the cars.
Check on Amazon and check what?
And check the cars on the driveway.
Uh-huh. And what is it about that that's so important to you?
So over time, porch pirates have been a real menace. Car break-ins are more often.
Okay. Car break-ins are happening around here?
It's a new community, so I wouldn't be too sure about that.
Gotcha. But it is a concern of yours, yes?
Probably,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. And other than cameras, burglary, robbery, fire, automatic door locks, is there anything else that is important to you when we are designing this system?
No, not so much. Maybe just cameras and the alarm system, I guess, yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you, when you leave the house, what is your ritual?
Lock the door, make sure the garage is closed.
Gotcha. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the cameras will allow you to control the house and see what's going on when you're not here, yes?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to go on to Mrs. Pantoja. You see what we're getting here? So what I got so far, Amazon, cars, looking at the home. I'm starting to determine what this man's motivations are. I now have some of his motivations. Well, I got great news for you, Andrew. In a moment, we're going to walk around your house. And we're going to do, what I'm going to do is I am going to look at your home through the eyes of a bad guy, even though I'm a good guy. You know I'm a good guy, right? Even though I'm a good guy, but I'm going to look at it like I'm a bad guy. Me and you are the good guy. That's the bad guy. And we're going to look at your home through the eyes of a bad guy. And here's what's going to happen. I am going to design a system for you that's completely bulletproof. It will stop bad guys in their tracks. So this way, never again will you have to think in your mind when you're working, is somebody ripping off my Amazon packages? Is somebody messing with my cars? When you're home sleeping, is someone messing with my cars? You're going to know about it in an instant. Is that good or good, Andrew?
That's pretty good.
See, so I'm mirroring back to him. And by the way, he was a little bit tight. You see, he was a little tight. If I had a wife there, I'm going to get a lot more information. And you, ma'am, once again, so I can design a system for you. What would be your main motive? Go ahead, Andrew.
I had a quick question. I wanted to give you an objection. I don't want to make it not be so easy, basically.
Yeah, that's cool.
As a married man, I'm not going to make this decision by myself. My wife's not here right now. Do you think you can come back another time?
Now, here's the thing. In Tusoniville, I don't demo one-leggers. You guys got to make your own decision on that. But to Sonyville, I don't do it. So I would never even get to this point if she wasn't there. That's me. I don't demo one-leggers. I don't sell one-leggers. I just don't do it. It's against my principles. Why? Because here's why it's against my principles. Because the system is going to save the lives of the family. And the husband and wife are the executives of the family. So what I would do there, Andrew, this is me, but you can do it if you choose to demo one-leggers. You guys do you. What I would do is reset the appointment. So I would get interest at the door. I wouldn't tell them too much. I would get a little bit of information. I would tell them when I come back, we're going to look at your home through the eyes of a bad guy. I'm going to show you how to shut down bad guys frontward, backward, upside down, twisted, sideways, any way a bad guy could try to get into your home. Not with me, not on my watch. Not happening. See, I'm going to sell them on me. By the way, do people buy ADT?
Yeah.
Chris Bradford?
No, they buy you. And you know what? You're saying something, man. Listen, everything you say, I feel like a little boy on the inside because everything you say, and I'm not trying to sound prideful, but I already know. Because something on the inside of me is like, ooh, yeah, yeah. Like everything you say, I agree with. And I teach my reps, get the person, then get the deal. Be focused on establishing rapport and a relationship with the person and then get the deal. Because guess what? If you get the person, you'll get the deal.
100%.
But if you're trying to get the deal, you will win some and you'll lose some. But your odds are a lot better if you're focused on capturing the person.
100%. People buy people. So Andrew, again, and you got to get with who you work with and your people and whoever. I'm just telling you, in my universe, I don't demo one-leggers. So to me, a one-legger would be a future opportunity, and I would not try to close that right there. That's me. The guy would literally have to say to me, listen, I'll get my wife on the phone. I'm ready to go right now. That's what he would have to say to me. If he did not say that to me, I would not demo that guy. That's just me.
Yeah, that's not to cut you off, Mr. Martin. That's the one thing I was thinking. Like in the case, say he did establish that, or he or she did establish that when it comes to that thing, I am the decision maker. So that could change that scenario. Would you open up to that question in that inspect portion right there?
If somebody told me I'm the decision maker, I would tell them, listen, that's perfectly okay. That said, I'm talking about life safety. So we're not talking about groceries here, respectfully. We're talking about life safety. And truthfully, I want to understand what concerns your wife as much as I want to understand what concerns you. So I got you both sleeping with both eyes closed. I want 4 eyes closed when you go to bed, not 2, right? I bring it always back to life safety. Life safety. It's all about the life safety. Does that make sense? And I can tell you this, let's flip that, guys, okay? I know some of you are handsome, but some of you are some big bucks. Some of you are some big slabs of beef. You want some, you're there with a lady. I know if somebody knocked my door and got in my house with me not there, I'm an alpha dog, man. I'm like, don't go in my house when I'm not there. Like, I don't want to piss off some dude who's not there. I want to be that's just me. But again, you guys got to navigate this how you want. So Mark is all about the buying committee and not one-leggers. And I'm very disciplined about it. I've always been very disciplined about it. That's how I was brought up in the business, and it just always made sense to me. So when you're knocking, obviously we're going back a step. We're talking about step 3 today. We got to go back to step 2 when you hit that door. You got to understand who's there. Who else is there? Are you married? Is there significant other. You got to know that. And then you tell them the reason I'm asking you is because my goal is to get 4 eyelids to close. See, what am I talking about? I'm always talking about that future. My goal is to get everybody's eyelids to close when you go to sleep, not just 2. I want them all closed. And I want you to feel safe. But I got to understand what concerns them as much as I understand what concerns you. And then I got to look at your home the way a burglar would look at your home. And I got to close all those holes. And I'm going to close those holes because not on my watch. No, you tell them that today. I want you to tell people that. Not on my watch. Nobody's breaking through what I designed. Not on my watch. Maybe some other guy. My name ain't going to be on the internet saying I didn't design your system correctly and somebody broke in anyway. That ain't going to be Fabian Blake. Hell to the no. That ain't going to be me. When I do it and you do it with me, you do it right the first time. Oh my God, please go back and listen to my language patterns because I'm throwing so much here. I can't even tell you it all or I would be here. Honestly, I'd be here for an hour. So we're back to step 3. We're in the inspect section. The final question of the inspect section is so that I can design a system that's going to protect you and your family now, a year from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years out. Even if you weren't to go ahead with it, what would be your main motive? Is it due to burglary, robbery, fire, medical emergency, cameras? Is it due to automatic door locks, garage door? In other words, what is it about it that would have you doing it? Oh, because of burglary. Drill down. Really, what is it about burglary that concerns you? Because who's selling who here, by the way? They're selling themselves. Is there anything else? Because, is there anything else? Because, see, you're facilitating the process. You're not shotgunning them. Stop telling them. Start fishing. Start pulling it out of them instead of telling them. How many of you is this making sense to? Show of hands. How many of you believe if you understand your buyer type and you do my process, your sales are going up? How many of you believe that and agree to that? Yes. By the way, is it okay for me to program your mind while we do these calls? Are you okay with that? Your sales are going up. You are doubling your sales. You are making more money. I'm literally programming your freaking mind while we do the training. I just have to tell you and show you because if for any reason you don't want your sales going up, I don't want to go against your free will. I'm not willing to be spiritually responsible. If you don't want to get rich, I'll never tell you things like that. But in the meantime, I am dropping seeds on you to rewire your mind, even while we do the call. Okay, I'm going to open the call. So that is step 3. Once again, step 3 right here is in the inspect section. There's only 6 sections to a demo. By the way, Andrew Kitchen, this makes up a demo. And by the time I'm done with this beta, actually much before I'm done, you guys will actually have a presentation book that I will give you following these steps. It'll follow this process exactly. So where are they now? Ask questions, market survey, or it can be done in a presentation. I can load the question into a presentation that I just shared with you. And then the other questions you're asking are to determine where they are now. Now, because of time, I'm not going to go into step 4 today. I will cover step 4 with you next week. This is what we call the money brick road, because when you follow this process, it leads you to the money. So if any of you want to get a picture of this, feel free to get a snapshot of it. It's all original material. And with that, I'm going to open the call.
Yeah, Mark, real quick. The only situations I've ever come across like one leg is where I'm able to, secure the family is I'll ask if it depends on the individual that's in front of me. If maybe it's a female, let's say husband's not not home, I'll ask if they seem very kind of alpha types. I will literally say, would it be fair to say that you're in charge of security around here? And if they say absolutely, then I will move a little further into the process. And what not to paint with a broad brush. I find though that Filipino families, older, 50s or above, the female's in charge. The guy just hands her the check, and she distributes that check how she sees fit.
See, it's a nuance. That's a very important nuance to be aware of, right? Because if that's the case, see, that's what you guys got to understand. There is tremendous flexibility. The most flexible always wins. I'm highly inflexible about one-leggers. However, Andrew, if I were selling in California and there were a high Filipino or Asian population, and I learned this, I would adapt immediately. Okay? So great point. Great point. Anybody else? Questions? It could be about what we're talking about today. I don't expect you to master this today, but you're going to listen to this over and over again and hit me up in the chat. I can get all the questions into the group chat. Brett, looks like you have a question.
What I'm just looking at is I'm seeing the framework, where you're going. These are the things that you're going to repeat back to the customer that they said. You know, how can you object to the things that you already agreed to? You said this was important to you. You said you wanted cameras, so I see it as the framework, because you're able to repeat back to them what they've said and agreed to.
Yes.
So
100%.
Take all objections away.
Yeah, a lot of what I do is objection prevention. And when you guys hear me doing this it's called future pacing. A year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. When you hear me doing that, I'm using contrast. So that eliminates term objections, contract objections. When you continue to bring it out, you are not selling features. You're selling futures. And you're not even selling futures. You are selling feelings in the future. And the feeling you are selling is safe. So the word safe should be in your repertoire 50 times. If you do this, you'll be safe. With me, you're safe. You guys didn't probably even hear me say that earlier. If you're safe with me, what does that mean without me? I am using subliminal stuff on you like you can't even imagine. You do it with me, it's done right the first time. You do it with me, it's over. Not on my watch. Like, I am pointing to myself as the only solution. Oh, not on my watch. You do it with me, it's done right the first time. What does that mean?
Mark, I've observed like a lot of these little subtle drops that you strategically place throughout to us, and also during your dialogue with the customer. I'm not sitting here buying as a customer, but obviously I'm buying into and receiving all this information. It's making me feel good. So what's it doing to the customer when you're repeating back to them? It's again, you're not giving your opinions.
Yes,
they're giving theirs, and then you're using their information. Not, I'm going to frame this probably the wrong way. Using their information against them, right, in a sense.
Yeah. So you're, and I'm so happy you said that, because I want you to understand something, Andrew, and everybody on this call. Everybody on this call is a high-level manipulator. Go ahead and raise your hand if you just admit to it. Just admit it. We're all high-level manipulator. But understand something. We are taking a journey into becoming a high-level aligner. Okay, we're all moving out of manipulation into alignment. And the more you get into alignment with people, and yet, like, what's the difference between a closer and a crook? There's only one thing. What's the difference between a gangster and a missionary? It's intention. There's missionaries who do some gangster shit on this planet. And there's gangsters who do some incredible stuff. I'm from the Northeast, man. You guys know John Gotti, the mobster. This guy did amazing things for his neighborhood, for people. But I'll tell you what, he clipped a lot of people too. So what I'm telling you is the difference is intention. The difference between a closer and a crook is your intention. So Andrew, the difference, you're absolutely right, but the difference is your intent. So now I know your buyer motive. My motive is not to use it against you. My motive is to use it for you so you can get what I know you really want. And my motive is to use it to help you buy instead of using it so I have to sell, right? So yeah, so I'm showing you we're all on a journey, myself included. My coach catches me all the time. He'll be like, and by the way, if you guys want to know my coach, he cost $126,000 in case any of you are interested. But his website is rewiringthemind.com. His name is Blair Dunkley. He's a behavioral researcher. Okay, the guy turns suicidal people around in an instant. He can break people's phobias in 45 minutes. People have 20-year, 30-year phobias, they're gone. So I'm teaching you from a mentor, a very, very high-level mentor, but I'm also teaching you from 38 years of in the trenches experience. I literally started selling at 20 years old. I've been on straight commission ever since. I got scared because I used to watch older salespeople go broke. I said, hell to the no, that ain't going to be me. So I'm buying me some apartments. And I started doing that at age 28. And I failed at it. And I went and did it again and again and again. And those apartments soared in value and continue to. I was just a guy who's like, I ain't retiring broke, man. That ain't going to happen. So you're getting years of experience, but you're getting from me, I'm telling you, I'm one of the highest level coached people you know. And I got more than just one. Okay, I am coaching constantly with someone on something because I am just chronically, inspirationally inspired to be the highest version of myself that I can find. That is my legacy to my kids, to you, to people I work with, to you guys, to everyone, is to become the highest version of me I can become. So that involves becoming the best salesperson I can become. And guys, you got to understand, your platform of wealth is built on sales. If you just think you're in sales and you're just trying to make money to pay some bills, you're not seeing it correctly. It is a platform of wealth that you can build from this thing you call sales. I did it. You can do it. You don't need to make $1 million a year. Although if you do, that's wonderful. But if you don't, if you made 300 grand a year, you make 300 grand a year, you can't live on 150. You got another $1.50. And if you follow by the way, guys, and I'll say this today on recording, I haven't paid taxes legally. This is some Grant Cardone shit I'm giving you right now. I haven't paid taxes in the last 3 years. Zero, nothing, nada, legally and lawfully. How many of you want to learn how to do that? Okay, there's a method and a way to do it. 5 years ago, I set a goal to get rid of income taxes in my life, to wipe them out. Everybody was saying, we want to see Trump's tax returns. And they're like trying to catch him on fraud. I'm over here going, I want to see Trump's tax returns. What the hell are you doing, bro? I want to know what he's doing, right? And what he was doing is he buys real estate. And when you buy real estate, you can wipe out taxes. I don't want to get diverted, but I want to be the highest version of myself. What do you want? What do you want for you? So when you coach with me, I'm getting rid of your sabotage. I am rewiring your mind because I can tell you right now, you are so much more than you are demonstrating. So much more. Any one of you, if you're being really honest with yourself, you know that you got so much more bandwidth, but don't let that dang lazy brain take you out. I'm not calling you a lazy brain. I'm saying we all have a lazy brain. It's part of being a human. Your brain wants to conserve calories. That's why you sabotage yourself. Do you think I was excited talking to a financial planner today about trust documents and revocable trust and irrevocable trust and $279,000 a year life insurance policies? You think that excited me? Hell no. I went and told my wife they want us to buy insurance for $279,000 a year. What a good problem this is. My God, this is the best problem I've had in 3 decades. This is a good problem, right? So I'm showing you guys perspective, hopefully to inspire you to step up to your highest potential. Okay, I'm ranting. Any other questions today? What a great group we have here today. Beautiful. Anybody else have a question today? I'm willing to answer. That's what this is all about.
I do.
Okay.
I do, Mark.
Go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
So from all your experience that you've been doing this training, what out of the 3 steps that you shared with us today, what would be your main advice for us when we hit the doors today out of those 3 steps that, you know, that you could say, okay, look, like just this one thing, do it today out here with these 3 steps that you gave us, other than that nice question and then the drilling.
Yep. So the number one thing I would say to you is intention, to create the intent to serve.
Okay.
Which means suspending your own selfish interest. It doesn't mean you don't have a selfish interest. It just means your selfish interest at the door has no place. Okay? So get what I just said. You have a selfish interest. We all do. Every human on the planet does. But your intent when you hit the door is to serve. Number 2, use permission-based questions at the door. It could be as simple as this. My name is Mark. I know you weren't expecting me. Would it be okay if I asked you a question? It could literally be that simple. You don't need some mega script. What you need to do is to become a person that people want to talk to, which means you got to start valuing yourself, which means you got to start to love yourself, value yourself. So number 1 would be intent. Number 2 would be permission-based questions. And number 3, ninja tactics, man. Ninja tactics. Drop some embedded commands. Watch this. Let me show you how to do this, Joe. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being a ninja, is there? Don't we all love ninjas? There's nothing wrong with being ninja, right? So an embedded command goes like this. I'm going to give you a few today. Go ahead. That's an embedded command. Say yes. That's an embedded command. Trust me. That's an embedded command. Know me. That's an embedded command. Okay, so what do we got? Say yes. Go ahead. Trust me. Know me. So watch this now. You can't just tell people consciously to trust you or they won't, but you can do it like this. So I'm out in the neighborhood and some of your neighborhoods some of your neighbors have decided to trust me. See how I bury it into a sentence? Or I'm out in your neighborhood talking to folks like yourself, and some of your neighbors have now gotten to know me, and they've gotten to trust me. And so I'm handling their security solution. Some of your neighbors have decided to say yes and go ahead. What I'd like to do is discuss this with you. Are you open to that? You see, you got to figure out how to bury those 4 phrases into sentences. And go ahead, say yes, trust me, know me. That's ninja at a very high level. But when you're at the door, hitting the door, honestly, it can be as simple as this. And this will be your 4th thing. Put your hand on your heart and mean it. My name's Joe. I know you weren't expecting me. Would it be okay if I asked you a question? My name's Joe. I know you weren't expecting me. I also know you're a new homeowner. Would it be okay if I asked you a question? So simple, but it's the tone. It's the standing back from the door. It's your intention. They are looking at you in an instant, and this is what their subconscious, this is what their reptilian brain is going. Are they safe? Are they a friend? Is it a mate? The reptilian brain goes like this: mate, safe, friend. I kid you not. That's what the reptilian part of the brain does. Is this a mate? And come on, guys, you know when you look at a woman, come on, man. Come on. You know you're looking and you're like, men literally think, is it a mate? Is it safe? Is it a friend? What is it? You know, like we are animals in our truth. So you're pulling people out of the animal into the prefrontal cortex where they can think straight. That's your job. Are those some good tips or what, Joe?
Mark, would you be able to add safe with me to that as well?
Say it.
I'm trying to think of the you know, many of your we've been fortunate to protect many of your neighbors, and I'm losing my train of thought.
I gotcha.
The reason they decided to go is because they feel safe with me.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, we've been able to protect several of your neighbors. By the way, if you can be specific, that'll drop their guard even further. I don't know if you know Joe Smith over there. Joe decided to trust me. Joe decided to get to know me, and we were able to do a wonderful job for Joe. And so here's the thing. Watch this now. I'm going to give you another guard down. In the event you feel the same way as Joe, you'll be safe with me.
Love that.
In the event, see, dropping the guard before I use the command is so freaking ninja, like high level ninja. Drop the guard, command. So in the event you were to ever say yes to me, here's what you'll notice. With me, you'll be safe. With me, we shut bad guys down. With me, I pride myself. No bad guys getting past me. Not on my watch. Not going to happen. So, see, when you talk like this, your confidence is coming up. And a lot of this has to do with you serving. It has to do with you valuing yourself. And it has to do with you being confident. So start using the phrasing I'm teaching you. Watch what happens to your confidence. It goes through the roof. This is a confidence game. You're expelling, and you guys literally are the same as a transmitter. You're transmitting frequencies to the people. And by the way, somebody help me out. I've been out of this for a few years. What frequency does the transmitter transmit on today? Anybody know that?
Is it dual encrypted? For sure.
So it's so for the transmitter to hit the receiver, what frequency is it traveling to do that? Does anybody know that? Okay, no, you don't have to know it. Either way, the receiver and the transmitter must be on the same frequency. Yes, they have to be. If they are not, they won't connect. This is no different with you and the customer. When you hit the door, they're in fear. So you got to quickly pull them out of fear and align with them. It's all about alignment, getting in the same frequency. The faster and more effective you are, the more people will enter a buying conversation with you. The better you get at your buyer conversations, the more people say yes. All right, let's debrief. What did you guys learn today? Because I know I learned a lot, man. I hope you did. What did you learn today? Somebody open up your, go ahead, Daryl.
So what I learned today was when you use powerful words, like if that drops the guard, it drops the person's guard, and then and then also too, after you use the words if, you're giving them an indirect command, and then also too, asking the right questions, it really brings people to the front of their mind, and they're
Yep.
really in the moment with you. And when they're in the moment with you, you have a better chance of doing business. I also learned how to come from a place. I also learned that I'm coming even stronger from a place that I'm serving you. You'll feel safe with me. Just different types of word tracks and word plays that they don't really hear. So I learned. That's what I learned today. That's what I took from this. So my
Awesome.
inspection, the way that I'm inspecting is a lot. It's a lot more circumspect, and I'll be able to go through the form that you gave us.
Yes.
So that's what I learned today.
Beautiful. And I will drop the questions I shared with you today in the ADT Sales Creators chat in Voxer. Beautiful. You got a bunch of notes, Andrew. Way to go. Anybody else? What did you learn today? Can you share with us? What's your big takeaway today?
I think I'm just going to reiterate a little bit what
Yep.
what was just said. The if statements, dropping down their guard, and I don't drill down enough. You know, when they give you the answer, they give you a little bit of gold. You can turn that gold into a nugget if you just keep drilling down.
You can
They're
turn
giving
it
you
into a gold mine.
Well,
You got to find the
there you
gold
go.
mine. Yes.
Yeah, don't do that enough.
Awesome. Drilling down is a big thing. And by the way, you know why men don't do that? Because when you drill down, you're tapping feeling. And most men don't like that. You got to learn how to be a feeler. People get them feeling. The more they can, you're not selling features. You're selling futures and you're selling feelings. The feeling you are selling is primarily safety. You are also selling control. All the automated features in the app, you're selling control. That's what that is. Okay, great. Anybody else? What's your big takeaway today? Big takeaway. Brett, go ahead.
Like I say, just putting things together, slowing down a little bit, having more of a dialogue with the person once they've let you in, and using what they say towards the close.
Love it. Yep. Mirroring back to them what they've basically said to you in a way that's non-manipulative. Key point. Beautiful. Thank you, Brett. Anybody else want to share? What's your takeaway today?
I'll go real brief. The actual body language. So I'm going to start doing that. You know, this is my name is Joe. I'm going to practice that today for sure. Just so
nice.
Kind of elicit that feelings of trust, because I don't think it's going to be very important. And then use the process of questions. I'm going to go ahead and practice that one today to where it becomes a habit of not, pulling out the shotgun and becoming the person throwing up and showing up, but rather letting them indirectly start sharing subconsciously what they really need.
Beautiful. And I must have a really good feeling about you guys, because I'm giving you some ninja tactics, and use those wisely. Understand there is a thing called a sales boomerang, and you guys will hear me in the chat. It'll hit you upside the head. So don't get hit by the boomerang. Do the right thing. When you're using embedded commands, you have a high level responsibility to discern and to do right by people, not to manipulate them. But it's okay if you're nudging their subconscious along, especially if you have their best interest in mind, because some people are just stuck in their amygdala part of their brain. Action step. I'm going to put it in the chat, as I've said 3 times, which, by the way, repetition, but also get yourselves this book, guys. Let's go to work, man. Start studying. Who wants to double their sales up in here? Anybody? You want to double? You want to triple? This is how you guys are going to do it, by learning the moves I'm teaching you, understanding buyer types. You put these 2 pieces together. Oh man. It is going to be very, very powerful for you guys. So with that, if you guys need me, hang on one second. Hang on one sec. If you need me, hit me up in the chat. And I'm here for you guys, for you gals. And you have an amazing day selling, becoming your higher self. And I'll chat with you all real soon. Bye-bye for now.
You've been living in a no man's land. Waiting, wondering, and worry. This might be the end. In your exhaustion. Try to cry out, or even whisper. But you couldn't make a sound.
What do we